Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I am Manaka, also known as Leah. Don't know why I said that. And welcome to my channel, Manaka. So, I wanted to talk about something that I had it's kind of it's riling me up. I had a discussion with somebody yesterday, and I was literally asking him, because we were having a discussion, right? And I understand that I'm still learning. I don't take that away from anything. I understand that the people that I'm surrounded with are also still learning and finding their way in this world, in this life, you understand? And the part that just got to me, like, okay, I've said this before, that we all have different ways of viewing the world. We have different experiences, and that has a lot to do with everything from the way we were raised, the people we've met, the experiences we've had, our star signs, and literally our birth chart as a whole. And definitely what was happening in the community at the time. Because so many things actually affect us that we don't even realize it. Anyway, I was having a discussion and I asked him to put himself in my shoes. And yes, okay, cool. I understand we all have different experiences and all of that, but like, he said he couldn't because I'm a woman and he's a man, and he's able to put himself in the shoes of other men because he can relate more, which I understand. Like, there are certain things that you cannot put yourself in the shoes of somebody else because you cannot have that experience unless you live as that specific gender. But for me, it was kind of confusing because there should also be a human element of it, a spiritual element of it, a soul element of it, where you can put yourself into somebody's shoes and think what it would feel like simply as a human to experience something like that. And I get it, we all have different opinions, we all have different ways of viewing life. So it makes sense why it would be so confusing for me that somebody else can't. And I've never thought of it. It's so weird. Like, it blew my mind. I was just like, the fuck? I was so confused. But it makes sense. Because if there is yin, there has to be yang. And if there are people who can put themselves in other people's shoes, there has to be people who can't. It's unfortunate, but there has to be people who can't. And obviously, in the moment, I was just like, but the more I thought about it, I realized that it makes sense. That there always has to be one side and another side. There always has to be. Otherwise, there's no balance. Weird. So the other part is that I think I should say it's probably put this in later. Let me go make tea. I just got to the office, okay? Let me go make tea. Let me sit down and actually, like, oh, I even forgot. Okay, I'm back. So I wanted to talk about yin and yang. Well, not yin and yang per se, just what it means. right? Like I had, after that example that I gave you, it made me think. Um, I had a very, very difficult time in the last, we're in October, August, September, almost 3 months. A very, very difficult time where I just didn't get it. I am a very understanding person. Well, I'd like to think that I am. When my relationships end, in any type of relationship, like all the ships, okay, I like to put myself into the other people's shoes. And I always hope that they've put themselves in my shoes. You know, I always try to figure out what it could have been that I would have done wrong. Um, and it's crazy because the biggest amount of ships that I've lost is when I decided to put my priorities before them. And that's crazy, right? But I've also understood that I made a facade of a kind of person that they could love. That they could love. Sorry, I'm hearing things. It's weird. I made a facade of a person that they thought I was. And it was just a whole lot of walls that were up because I didn't think the real me was deserving of love. This is still a bit of a sour subject, but anyway. Then I started my spiritual journey, and then my Saturn return started. And I realized, you know what? When I started my spiritual journey, yes, I started transitioning into working on myself and putting my priorities first. Me. Because you need to love yourself first before you love, or you can love everyone, right? So that's what I tried to do. It was difficult. And most of the time I was going about it the wrong way. Then my Saturn return started and I went into hermit mode because it started exactly at the time, around the time when we started lockdown in South Africa. And it was also around the time when I was clearly starting to show pregnancy symptoms. So that was a lot of hermit mode for me. I stopped speaking to a lot of people, especially if I'm hearing people. It's so weird. Anyway, um, I stopped speaking to a lot of people like the way I would, and I really started introspecting and figuring out what it is I wanted out of life, right? And who I wanted in my life. Um, Gosh, what point was I trying to make? Give me a second. Oh, and then weirdly enough, that is when I started losing people. And then I realized that, you know what, it's not even their fault. They have loved a version of me that is not real for so long. And now when the real version of me comes out, it's a shock. And they can't love her. And it hurts, but it was all my doing. So it's, but it just makes me even more grateful for the people who did stick around, who are still here. Because they were able to see the transition and still love it. That is beautiful. Okay, if you don't have people like that in your life, girl, what are you doing? Oh boy, I don't think they're boys. Actually, they are. I'm like, there are boys who are subscribed to my channel. I'll stop being sexist. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But what I realize is that it's better to be loved in your true form by few. It's better to be loved in your true form by few than to be loved by many in a fake persona. But yeah, I was also very upset with the fact that me being a spiritualist and a whole lot of people being Christian and them not understanding. For me, I've become very open, right, to questions. There might still be walls up, but I've been very open to questions. If you have a question about my spirituality, ask me one on one, not in a group setting, please. I am still very socially anxious, so I don't think it's respectful to ask me a question like that that's so personal in a group setting. But also, it is my fault that I didn't explain this. Like, I'm still working on it. I am trying to be the kind of person who voices what they want out of their relationships, out of my relationships, all the ships. And I'm also trying to be more of a person who puts themselves in other people's shoes and respects. Yes. Puts themselves in other people's shoes and respects their boundaries, respects their opinions, respects what they decide to do. Like, not every decision you make needs to be explained, and that's okay. It would be lovely to get an explanation, but you know what? Your boundary might be that you decide not to explain it, which is okay. I think also the biggest part of me that I got annoyed is that there's this thing that Christians do where they seem like they're understanding, but they really aren't. I'll come back. I even forgot to eat my fruits. It's almost 4. I wanted to say, I hope this is at the point I was at, actually. Yeah. I wanted to say that I was a bitch when I was a Christian. You know, I'm probably still a bitch, but I was bitchier. Bitchier. And I was Christian. I was a fucking know-it-all. And I treated people who weren't the same kind of Christian that I was like peasants. I'm so extra. Anyway, I treated them like peasants because I honestly thought what they believed was wrong. Because that's what you're taught. And it's okay if that's what you believe in. It's fine. I think the problem comes when you put yourself above everyone else. So I think the biggest thing for me is I love being a spiritualist because it's allowed me to be less people pleasing. It's allowed me to see myself as an equal to everyone. It's allowed me to put myself in other people's shoes. It's allowed me to grow in ways that I never thought I needed to. You understand? And it's just been an awesome journey. I don't even know what my point was when I started this video, but I'm pretty sure there were many points within this video. And I hope whoever watches this gets to take that information and run with it. But yeah, if you have any questions about spirituality, text me. But yeah, I'm into all of it. Readings, psychicness, empathicness, tarot, crystals, moon phases, the planets, Mercury. I'm pretty sure you know that by now. I'm into it all. And then for the first time ever, I can say I respect all forms of spirituality. Those who choose to be atheists, that is a form of spirituality. Those who are traditional healers, form of spirituality. Shamans, same thing. Mediums, psychics, tarot readers, Buddhists, all the religions, you know. I love that I could get to a point where I could see myself as equal to everybody, instead of thinking I'm better. I mean, I still think I'm better, but I think that's just my Aries rising. That's just my Aries rising. I think I'm the best thing since sliced bread, sliced cheese, sliced biltong, bacon. Okay, let me keep it quiet. But I'm definitely at a place where I can breathe. When I feel like before I used to think, oh shit, it's almost time to go home. Okay, almost time to go home. Before I used to try, I overthink a lot, right? But before it wasn't about what I could have done. Okay, it was about what I could have done better, but it was usually about how I could have convinced the person that I am right. Most of the time. That was the better that I was talking about. But now it's more what I could have done better, as in like, how could I have been more empathetic? You know, how could I have actually been more vulnerable? How could I have let down my walls just a little bit more to let the person that I care about in? You understand? So that's what I overthink now. As if I could have had the conversation in a better way to help the person understand me, not help them think that I'm right, which I usually am. But just to be more open and to really listen to people when they tell me my faults, so I can learn from them, you know. It's been an interesting one. Anyway, the full moon, no. New moon, no. One of the two is coming through on the 20th. I'm actually excited for this one, but we'll see what happens, because you know what? this life is good. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. I mean, of course the light would agree. Anyway, let me go home. Let me enjoy my weekend. This will probably only be posted on Monday. But if it is posted on a Saturday, I hope you're enjoying my content. Follow me on Instagram. My stories are more interesting than my actual feed. Follow me on Twitter. I retweet a lot of awesome shit. And yeah, let's be friends. I mean, we're already friends. Literally, I have 162 subscribers. That is people I know. I don't think, I wonder if I do. If you don't know me personally, comment below. Okay, there's too much energy happening here. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys so much. Sending you love, sending you light, and sending you progress.